And hello everyone. So today we are going to make a very simple, minimal HTML CSS template. It's going to be one page, and then you have your hero image, you have your columns, and then we're just going to divide up the sections, and then we have testimonials, and then right at the end we have the CTA, the click to action, and then your footer. The framework that we're going to be using is Tachyons, and this is pretty cool because this is very similar to Lego. What that means is if we go to components, and then for example here, if we go to articles, and you can see that there's a lot of classes here, which is basically like Lego. So you just take the class that you want and then just paste it in, and that's pretty straightforward. And even if you're a beginner, I do believe that this is a good way to learn how to code and design. So I'm gonna talk through some design decisions and also the code in HTML and CSS. So if you're a designer and you want to get into HTML and CSS, then this is probably another good way to do it. So you're also going to need a code editor, and the one that I would recommend is Visual Studio Code, which is free. It's for Mac and Windows. I started using this recently. I was always on Atom. You can use whatever you want, but this one is one that I'd highly recommend. And there's another nice little utility tool called Divi, and this is from Misage, if that's how you pronounce it, Misage. And what they do is they let you divide up the screen, so we're going to use this quite a lot. And then lastly, one place I recommend to get images that are copyright free is Unsplash. This is a very good website. This is where I'm going to use the hero image. You can use your own images, but this is where I got the image in the template. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up Terminal. If we go into Terminal, and we're just going to check where we are currently, what we'll do is just check again. So what I've done, I've created a directory called sites. So if we go into there, and then if we're going to create a new directory, so it's mkdir, and we're going to call this nice weird demo. And the reason why I'm calling it nice weird is because some of my friends have called me nice and weird, so I think this is a good tribute to them. And then we need to change directory. We need to go into that directory, so nice weird demo. So the first thing we want to create is an index file, index.html. So the command for that is touch and then index.html. The index.html is going to contain all your code, all your HTML, all your CSS, just to keep it really simple. If you open up Visual Studio Code, and what I actually have is I already have it set to this size. So as an example, if you open up Divi, which is up here, you can then just change the size. I've actually put a shortcut in, so I'll put Command D, and this will let you resize it, which is pretty handy. If we go to open a folder, so Command O. Now if we go to nice weird demo, we open this up, and if we click on index.html, now the first thing we're going to need is the starter HTML. So if we go over to Tachyons, and we just get the starter HTML, and we go back to Visual Studio Code and we paste that in. Okay, so the main thing here is all your code, most of your code is going to go between the body tags, and the link tag is what is referencing the Tachyons CSS framework. So for example, let's just do our very first bit, the header. then in the header we want the logo. So I've put the hash in there because we're not using any links at the moment, and I've called it nice weird. You can call this whatever you want. And then the second link is the click to action, which is going to be hire me. So Command S for save. If we were to open this file, so let's say reveal in Finder. So I right click to reveal in Finder, then open that up. So that will open it in your browser. And the one that I would recommend is Chrome. The reason why is because you get a lot of really good tools built in that we're going to use in the video. Also, it's one of the best browsers because it has all the modern technologies, like also Safari and Firefox is pretty good. Straight away, you can see we have our two links, nice weird and hire me. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide this up into 4 rows. Or actually, let's say 5 rows. No, 4 rows. And then we'll divide this up into 2 rows. Okay, so let's say we have a change here called nice weird template. You hit Command S or save. What happens is it won't update straight away. What you have to do, click on the browser and then Command R or refresh, and then you can see a change. So there's a pretty cool thing in another good thing in Visual Studio Code is extensions. So if you go to your view and then extensions, but there's a command which is Command Shift X. If you search for, let me just remember, VS Code browser sync. So if we actually go to this link, so if you actually install this, and if we just scroll down, yeah, so the command we want is this one. So if we just close this, so you can open your command. The way I do it is Command Shift P, or you can go to your toolbar, and then if we paste that in and then we hit enter, it will then ask for a path. I just hit enter again, and then it loads up everything. So I can just click on index.html. Now it's connected to browser sync. So the advantage of this is if I were to then remove template and then hit and then save it, it will automatically update the browser, and that is very useful because that's going to save you refreshing the browser screen every time. Okay, so you get that installed. I'm just going to quickly go back to the Explorer, Command Shift E, which is this bit here. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to give the for example here, I'm just going to bring this over. Okay, so the fonts are different, but we're going to get onto that later on. But we're going to give it some spacing. So what we're going to do is we put a class, and then in here we're going to put in padding vertical 3, which means padding top and bottom. And there you go, there's some spacing on the top and the bottom. We also want to give it a max width. So max width 9, for example, and we want it to center on the screen. So center, there we are. Now we also want to give it a bit of padding horizontally, left and right. So we can then say ph3, Command S, and there you have it. You have spacing. Another nice thing that we want to do, we want to have the hire me CTA on the right. Now what we used to do is float left and right, but now we have a very cool technology called Flex. So if we put Flex in, Command save, okay, and we also want to align, vertically align these in the middle. So we put items center, And then to space it out, we want to then do justify. Let's see if I remember. Justify between. Okay. So as you can see, the logo is on the left and the CTA is on the right. And now what we want to do, we want to use another class on the links called link. And I'm in the habit of, I hit Command S quite a lot, which is save. And as you can see here, you got the, it's removed the text underline. And then if we were to do the same on this one, actually, what we're going to do, this is even better. We are going to go to tachyons. We'll go to components and buttons. Now, one button I used is, it's not that one. It is the peel button. So we want to get this one, which is the first one. So we can just highlight it, Command C, come back here, and then we just go over this, Command V. So what we do, we just change the text to Hi Me, Command S. We go back, you can see straight away it's updated it, which is pretty cool. Now, if I just remove justify between, so I can just quickly put an X just to, so that the class doesn't work. And then Command S, you can see here, these two are not aligning properly. So let's just inspect it. So that means you right click and then you inspect. And this is in Chrome. So just to see why they're not aligning, because the button has a margin bottom of 2. Okay, so if we go here, we just remove this class, Command save, and there we are. It's aligning in the middle. Another thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the default font. So if we go to the body, we do class, and we're going to say sans serif. And this is going to use the default sans serif on your system. And in my case, I'm on the Mac, so it's going to use San Francisco. So Command save, there we are. So it's using the latest sans serif on your Mac or whatever system you have. And then we just want to get rid of the X, Command S, and there we are. So also we want to make the link black, Command S, and we want to make this a bit bigger. So there is a font scale in there from F1 to F7. So we're going to say, okay, let's make it F3. And that is a pretty good size. So the next section is going to be the hero section, which is by Joe Rogan, who I absolutely love. And then we have an image here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the code, hit enter. We're going to create a section. And in this section, we're going to have a div. And this is going to contain the heading and the image. So those will also need to be in their own div. And if we do H1, what we do is we can copy this. You can type it out. So I'll just go between there and here, paste. Okay, and then we do a new div, and in there we need to put the image. So image src, which is source, equals speech mark, and then close. That image is a self-closing tag. It doesn't have an image tag and a closing image tag like the divs. So you just need to put in a backslash. Okay, so if we hit Command S, let's see how this is doing. And there we are. So it's got that there. So what we want to do is get the image. So if we go to Unsplash, I just did a search for Star Wars. Now there's obviously loads and loads and loads of images, cool images. I chose this one This is by Cade Roberts, so shout out to him. So if we download this and show in Finder, so we're going to copy that, bring it over into the Nice Weird demo. We're going to create a new folder which is called images. Images. We go into there, we Command V or paste, and then from there we are going to, because I've already downloaded a couple of these, so you can call this, I'll just call this Saber. Did I spell Saber right? Oh no. Okay, saber.jpg. Okay, so here source, which we created images, and then saber.jpg. Command save. So here straight away you have your image. Now what we want to do is line these up, one on the left, one on the right. But what we're going to use now is another technology called CSS Grid, which is another really cool feature. We're going to mix it up a bit. We're going to create our own classes. So if you just go before the body tag, you create a new tag called style, and in there we're going to do dot grid, and then we're going to say display grid. And then what I'm going to use is 5 columns. So I'm going to put -5, and then it's going to be grid template columns. It comes up automatically. So template columns. So we're going to do 1 frame, 1 frame, 1 frame, 1 frame, 1 frame. So 1 frame represents a column, and then Command S. Okay, so we just go down. So in the parent div, which contains these two, which are, you can look at it as in divisions of your code or your screen, we'll put class grid, and then we want to do grid 5. Okay, so you can see here it's immediately put this in the first and second column. So if we were to inspect it, so right click inspect, you can see here, which is I think is really cool, because this, way back when we had to use Photoshop to create grid lines and things like that, but this is just way better. So you can see things are lining up. So here we have the first column and the second column, but what we want to do is we want the image to fill up the last 3 columns, and the first one to fill up the first and the second. So what we're going to do, we could do another class called item1, and grid column start from 1, and grid column end on line 3, I believe. So Command save. Okay, and then item 2, grid column, doesn't know start and end yet. So grid column start, and we want that to start from 3, and grid column end, we want that to end on 6. So Command save, and then if we go down to the 2 divs, we put class item1, and here we do item2. Command save, and there we are. So if we inspect it again, you can see here, you can see the lines. The lines represent 1, 2, 3. So in a 5 column there is 6 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what we want to do is vertically align in the middle the heading to the image, which used to be an absolute pain before, but now Flexbox is out, which is just way easier. So what we do on this div, we do flex and then items center, Command save, and boom, it is in the center. So much easier. Now probably what you've noticed is this image is pretty long, so I edited this photo so it's a bit more landscapey. Okay, so if we go back to Finder, if you go to your demo images, so what I'm going to do is create a copy. So Command D, oops, so Command C and then Command V. We're going to open this in preview. And then what you can do is go to, we need to adjust size. Just hit OK. And then we just bring this out a bit. And then we got the tool here. So I'm going to say roundabout up here. Okay, and then you just hit crop. And then we shall save this image. So file, save, close. So now we have save a copy. I'll just put a dash there. And then we just preview this. So there we go. So if we go back into our image source, we just change it to dash copy, Command save, and there we are. And another thing we want to do is add some spacing between the text and the image. So what you can do is in the grid class, we can add a gap. So grid dash gap, we're going to then say, for example, 1 rem, which is equivalent to around 16 pixels. Command S, and there you go. You can see here the spacing on each column. Now let's say we want a bit more space, let's say 3 rem. There we are. So now you got more space. Okay. So as you can see here, these are not lining up. So what we need to do is on here we do the same thing. So max width 9 and center. And then we need to put a padding horizontal of 3. And there we are. So these are now lining up very nicely. Hey, so the video ends there because it is pretty long. It's actually the whole video goes over an hour. So I've decided to split the video. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. My name is Roy at Awesome 2Ws. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and get that next part tomorrow. Thank you.